Welcome. If you're a business owner looking for new ways to grow your sales, you're in the right place. We're living through uncertain times this year, so it's more important than ever that you find ways to stay ahead of the curve. Today's topic is all about how to grow your sales by 8 times or more with methods I guarantee most of your competitors aren't doing. We're making this web class as interactive as possible. We'll have fun questions you can participate in, as well as the ability to ask us any question that you can think of along the way. We have a lot of business owners joining us on these calls, asking us loads of questions. So if we can't get to your question immediately, rest assured we will get it answered via email within 48 hours. Stay to the end because we're going to be giving away a whole bunch of stuff today. I'm excited about this. I hope you're as excited as I am. Let's get going and started with one of my favorite examples, John from RenoX. Here's John. He's a general contractor who specializes in interior and exterior remodeling. He does other work as well, but this is his bread and butter. He has a crew whenever he needs them, but doesn't necessarily have enough work to keep them busy all year round. Last year, in 2022, he made $100,000. What was a mystery to John was whether or not he could have improved his year. What we determined was that he threw away a potential $4.9 million in sales. Had John been able to sit in on a webinar like this one in the beginning of last year, he might have been a millionaire today. Let me ask you all a question. What do you know about follow-up? And better yet, how open-minded are you about increasing your monthly revenue? If you're anything like me, you want to be as successful as you possibly can. I want an edge over my competitors any chance I get. So now I'm going to share a big one with you. Have you ever heard of the 98-2 rule? The 98-2 rule is coined by none other than Grant Cardone. The 98-2 rule states that the first time you reach out to a person and present your product or service, the chances of closing them is just 2%. It's a 2% chance, okay? However, the other 98% is where all the money is. The 98% of the money is contained in the follow-up. If you continually follow up with your customer, they will buy. Did you know that 48% of salespeople will never follow up with a prospect? 25% of salespeople make a second contact and stop. 12% of salespeople make 3 contacts and stop, and only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. I'll tell you why all that's important. I was blown away when I first saw this and let it really sink in. 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 3% of sales, meaning first there's 2, now the next 3% of sales are made on the second contact. So now we're up at 5% total. The following 5% of sales are made on the third contact. So now we're at 10% total. 10% of the sales are made on the fourth contact. So now we're at 20% total. And 80% of the sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. That's 100% of the sales, right? So you're missing out on 80% if you're not making 5 to 12 contacts. What this means is if you call a customer one time and they don't answer, the worst thing that you can do is never call them again. Also, when I say contact, I don't just mean make a bunch of phone calls. You need to be smart and mix up your approach with texts, emails, letters, videos, voicemails, and so on. Have fun with it and get creative. Once you do that, you're going to be unstoppable. Now let's get back to John. I mentioned that he left $4.9 million on the table, and the main reason for this is because he didn't follow up at all. He only made 1 contact attempt. He called him up once. If the customer for some reason didn't answer, he gave up and moved on to the next customer. Looking at the math, if he had only done 1 more follow-up, 1 more contact attempt, he would have increased his sale potential to $250,000 for the year. With this amount of follow-up, he would be leaving 95% of all of the other sales to chance. Okay? 1 extra follow-up would have been $500,000 potential, and now he's only leaving 90% of his sales to chance. Still a big chunk. Another follow-up would have given him a potential $1 million of potential revenue, which is staggering. And that's only 20% of the full potential that he actually has, leaving 80% to chance. If he followed up 5 to 12 times, which is what we recommend, he would have made a potential $5 million. So because John only made $100,000 last year, he missed out on a potential $4.9 million in revenue just by not following up. But odds are, if we spoke to John today and gave him these numbers and told him how following up would actually benefit him, he might not believe it. Or worse, he'd believe it and not take action. The truth is, there's two types of people in this world. Those who judge something before they even tried it, and those who try something and base their decision off of their own experience. This all begs the question, where should we apply follow-up? Let's look at this customer journey chart. On the bottom left of the screen, you'll see new lead, and you'll see it trailing all the way over to estimate booked. The white arrow above shows people leaving your sales pipeline. Some of these reasons at this stage might be that they ghosted you, or they're tire kickers, or just not ready to buy for some reason. The 98% orange line that you see there is the available sales that you'd miss out on if you never followed up. The 2% green line is what you automatically get without any follow-up. So that was basically what John was getting. The goal is to capture as much of that 98% as possible by adding a follow-up process. On this slide, it's similar. We've moved on to the stage after the estimate is actually booked, but people may still slip out of the cracks due to you not confirming the estimate, or them not confirming the estimate, or them just not being home when you arrive. And I know with gas prices these days and expenses, you just can't afford to drive out and waste your time like that anymore. So let's move on. After the estimate is actually completed, people might tell you that they can't afford your price or that your timing isn't right for them to get started, or so on and so forth. They can have a million excuses. All these opportunities can actually be saved by following up, which in turn helps capture some of that 98% we keep talking about. Now, moving ahead, in this stage, once the project has actually been booked, people might still leave your pipeline by maybe not confirming the start date or having to postpone the start date. It's not as likely, but it can happen. So we just want to make sure that appointment reminders go out at all the right stages to both you and the customer. Once the project is completed, most contractors, unfortunately, never follow up again, which is a costly mistake. You might be missing out on 98% of your customer feedback, video testimonials, brand new word of mouth sales, repeat sales, referrals, and even written reviews. I mean, did you know that 91% of prospects read online reviews before making any purchase decision? Which honestly isn't surprising when you think about it. Whenever you shop at Amazon, how often do you buy something without looking at the reviews? Pretty much never. Your customers are no different when they choose a contractor to work with for the very first time. Following up is going to increase the chances of you capturing 98% of the reviews as well. Now, while all this sounds great, it might seem overwhelming to take on right now. You might even be thinking that this is going to be super hard or confusing to do consistently, or that following up like this is going to take way too much time that you just don't have, or maybe that it's going to be expensive to take this on, or that you could do it, but it's going to take a lot of effort. Or maybe it's going to take away from the time that you've already set aside for your family and friends. Don't get me wrong, it would take a bunch of time and effort and stress to figure out how to make all this work. I mean, John and I spent years figuring this out, and we came up with a solution for this particular reason. We came up with a very simple and powerful process that actually takes care of everything that we just mentioned. Introducing our brand new proven and tested follow-up system. Our system makes doing everything that we've shown you a piece of cake. We've ensured that 5 to 12 contacts happen every single time with every single customer without fail. We've taken all the guesswork and stress out of it, where now you'll be able to call every single customer when they actually want to be called. You can have voicemails go out, text messages will go out, video messages can be sent, physical letters will be mailed, trained follow-up reps will handle all the areas after the sale. All of this happens automatically to make sure that we hit those 5 to 12 contacts in all the right ways. And then our system rinses and repeats and makes proposals to your customers until they either buy or they say stop. And now you can go from hoping that 98% of customers will actually buy from you to actually knowing some of that 98% will buy from you, which in turn leads to more of your customers overall giving you reviews, providing you with video testimonials, sending you more referrals than you ever thought possible because they've been incentivized properly through our program to do so. They start picking you for future projects and give you more repeat sales. And finally, because they start speaking highly of your business to their peers, your 98% customer base just starts to grow as well. And all this puts your business in rapid growth mode and turns your business into an unstoppable force. This is what your new day will look like. You're going to be able to tap into the 98% with ease. You'll change nothing about your business. You'll book more estimates, more projects, and close more deals. To summarize, the 98-2 rule states that if you don't follow up with your customers, you only tap into 2% of your sales. You leave the other 98% to chance. So make sure that you're the first and the last to follow up because your competitors will usually give up after the first contact. Remember, try mixing things up with how you reach out to people with texts, calls, voicemails, and more. Finally, make it a real easy decision for people to refer your business time and time again. A few examples of our system in action are some of the following. Let's say a customer calls you and you miss the call. You're going to get notified automatically. All you have to do is click one button to call them back. Maybe you book a customer in for an estimate or a project. Well, you and your customer will be reminded about every single appointment that you ever schedule to help reduce those no-shows. Whenever you complete a project, for example, you'll get a full summary of it, and a handwritten letter will be mailed out to your customer automatically. Whenever you get a video testimonial, you'll get notified in case you want to respond to the review and thank the customer. As you keep getting referrals left and right, you're going to get notified about who referred them and all the contact details about that new referral. Bottom line is that you could get our entire system so you can capture some of that 98% with ease automatically. Just imagine how things will be in 6 months if you implemented this today. How would you feel if this time next year you were debt-free, living in your dream home, planning your next vacation? Imagine the smiles on your kids' or grandkids' faces when they see that you're at every single game and event that they're performing in. Or how impactful you'll be in your family's memories because you're always around when you need to be. The way I see it is you have 3 options. You could hire a team, figure out the follow-up process yourself, and try and figure out all the right messages to send out at the right times and go through all the trial and error as well as following up manually 5 to 12 times. You could also do nothing. Accept your current circumstances. Accept that this is as good as it'll ever get and just suck it up. Or you could give this a try alongside with what you're already doing and see how far you'd go. Plus, you can cancel anytime if it's not for you. If you decide to give this a try, then I promise you won't be disappointed. Due to the demand of this service, this is first come, first serve. The spots are extremely limited. If you want to work with us, go to thefollowupguys.com/go. If you're on a computer watching this, click on the link in the bottom right-hand corner and go there now. Once again, this link is going to go away once our spots are full. So hurry and go to thefollowupguys.com/go to claim your spot. Thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed this, and we look forward to talking to you soon.